Okay,
Approval of minutes.
Elena, here.
I do have a question on the minutes.
Oh,
Oh,
Bill.
you got a spot right here.
Save the spot.
Yep. And if
I
Patty
thought I
shows
was
up,
the
we'll-
last one
So let's move Elena up
who
here.
didn't show.
Right, we
work.
have to go home. Bill A. right here. Okay.
Tough on all that.
Yeah, it is. Work is tough. on
Your
the
printing machine wasn't working, your receipt printer wasn't working, wouldn't take card.
There's a complicated sequence of buttons you can push. It'll tell you how to do it. It just meant that the receipt paper's low. Which one was it?
The one facing the road for gasoline.
I'll get that
Just a good
when we're done here.
agenda.
Okay, so, approval of minutes.
Yeah, on the minutes, I just wondered why some of the sentences were in red.
Oh, that was what, I put it in red so you guys would know what you talked about to go into the growth policy.
Oh, I see.
So I thought this way you could see this is what we talked about.
Oh, okay.
That's why, and I did that, I think, with something else last time too, that you guys had wanted it included in something. So I thought it might be easier to say, oh yeah, we.
Okay, good enough, okay, thank you.
Motion to approve.
I want clarification. Commissioner's resolution. Scott Atlas said the resolution did not get on the county commissioner's agenda,
Well,
so it wasn't passed. I want to know what resolution was he talking about? Does anybody know?
I think it's the resolution creating us.
Yeah, the
It's
resolution
the one that's
creating
signed
us.
and sealed and delivered.
Yeah, and that was signed August 21st. Our meeting was on September 22nd.
Well,
So what
Scott
was he
said last
talking
month-
about?
Scott said last month that it hadn't gotten on the agenda.
That's right.
Well,
There it is now. It's
there's
done.
written proof that Scott was mistaken.
right, we all,
Gee, I wonder why, huh?
well, we all
No, he
make
wasn't
mistakes.
mistaken. It wasn't done last time, but he got it done this month.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there we go.
No, he got it done August 21st.
Yeah, it says
And
it
on
was.
September 22nd, it says it did not get on the county commission's agenda, so it was not passed.
Or September 12th, wasn't it, that we did
Yeah, it
the
was
meeting?
September 12th.
Well, I'm sorry, September 12th.
Maybe that was
See, we can
when
all
they
get our
first.
dates wrong.
Maybe that doesn't mean the second.
For the record, it looks to me as if September 12th, the agenda wasn't, the resolution wasn't approved according to Commissioner Adler, and yet it was on August 21st, for the record.
I don't know,
Okay,
but he did say it for sure, that last month when we had the meeting, he said that it didn't get on the agenda, right?
For the second reading.
Oh, was it
So
for
the
the
first one
second?
was done, so maybe that's when they,
Oh, I didn't hear the second one.
Yeah,
It
right.
looks like it's a done deal, right?
yeah, it's a done.
right.
Betcha.
Well, it's just something, I guess, that happened.
Thank you.
We'll
Any
just
more
have
on the
to-
minutes? Motion to accept minutes.
Nay.
I'd move.
Second.
I'll second it.
Who first did?
Firsted, I firsted.
Okay, Bill, okay. Sorry, I can't write so fast.
Things happen so quickly around here.
Yeah.
Okay, so the minutes are approved. Everybody agree?
No, I said aye, nay.
What?
I said nay, for the record.
Duly noted.
Thank you.
Discuss secretary position. Where are we on that? The suggestion was made to have two secretaries.
Right, to have and it was really Scott's idea, to have a recording secretary and then a corresponding secretary, where Elena would be the corresponding secretary and Heidi would be the recording secretary. Was that the right one?
Yeah.
I do have a little information on that. I talked to Tim Love last night. He's with the Montana Forest Collaboration Network. And Elena, I know you've been concerned about the Valley County Collaborative, and Tim said they took a summer break. And so they're gonna start meeting again in October. Anyway, I asked about the secretarial position, and in Valley County, the county provides it. And I said we just weren't in that kind of position. But he said the state of Montana has a program that might help us. And Matt Arno, who is the bureau chief for the DNRC, he was the local government liaison for the Montana DNRC. He has funding for these sorts of things. And if you'd like, I would call this, Matt, and check out the funding to see if they would have funding for the secretarial position and for running off copies and that sort of thing.
I believe in asking for money.
I do too. I thought it was a great idea.
Everybody agree?
What was the name
Somebody-
of the group again?
It's the DNRC.
Okay.
If we're under the county commissioners, why aren't they providing the funding?
I don't know that. I do know another little aside on that. The reason the Valley County Collaborative isn't on the county website because they're considered independent of the county.
And we're not independent of the county, we're
Well-
under the county. So if anybody's going to provide funding, it should be the county.
But
It should be, but it isn't.
it isn't, and apparently they don't provide that sort of service for the airport board or the other boards, and so we're no different than them.
They're on the budget. Every single one of them are in the budget.
Well, it is what it is, and if you want me to, I'll get hold of Matt Arno. It's ARNO.
It
Thank
wouldn't
you.
hurt to find out if they would give us some money, and then
Right.
we can decide if we want to accept some,
Exactly,
if they, yeah.
yeah.
Well, then it
Just-
would be up to the commissioners to decide if they want to accept it, because we are under them.
Didn't
I
we
don't know
discuss
how
this
they-
last time and Scott said he brought it up and I said no?
Yeah, they won't fund
Yeah,
it.
they said no, but she's saying that the commissioners have to agree to let us get money from another source.
That's right.
Let's find out the other source first.
Then we-
Right.
Sue volunteered to do
Yeah,
it,
And then,
and then we'll make that decision.
If
And
there's
we-
no money
We have to go to
available,
the commissioners
we
then.
won't bother the commissioners.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm sorry, and present it to the commissioners? That we're
If-
going to take this money?
if it's available.
If-
Okay, well, that's
Right.
cool.
Okay, we're all in agreement?
No,
No?
no.
Okay.
Okay. Discuss Granite County growth policy. So last time Scott and I and Patty went in and talked to Linda, and she only had 3 copies. And so I got a copy, Scott got a copy, and Patty got a copy. I read the whole thing, and Scott did too, I guess, and it needs to be updated and amended. And like he says, it's really generic. And,
So is that something our group wants to take on, reading this and making suggestions to the
Exactly,
commissioners?
so we can either make some suggestions now, and then I'd like to have 1 or 2 people the next month, kind of consolidate it and add, and if somebody wants to add more to what we're doing, then they could do that, then we can take it up next month. So then we have to go to the planning board, because we can't change the growth policy, the planning board has to,
Sure.
but it can be amended anytime.
There
But
are
then-
multiple amendments on the website. I don't know if those are incorporated in here or not.
Oh, I didn't see those, okay.
How will I get a copy of this to study at night?
They're on the website.
That's how.
It's on the website, and
Be my guest.
Well, I think we all should be provided with a copy, don't you?
Yeah.
I think so.
That's
We
right.
can get one. And
So until we get a copy of it,
Why don't you call me in a week, and I'll try to have it done by then, and I'll be happy to pass mine right on down the
It
line.
doesn't take that long to read it.
Right.
oh, I know it doesn't, but if you're going to present a document here at this meeting, it should be available to everybody.
It's on the website.
Oh, I know it's on the website, but it still should be a copy available here to everybody at the
And it was
meeting.
supposed to be, but it didn't get done.
Thank you.
So you want us all to read it and then bring our ideas next month?
Exactly, we could talk about some ideas right now, and then if we had a couple volunteers that would kind of consolidate it and give it to us next month, and then we could
Just from my own standpoint, I'd feel more qualified talking about it after I had read it.
I
Yeah,
agree.
Me too.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, not to be too contrarian, but
It's up to you guys, I mean, I don't care, I mean, I was just thinking there's like one thing, I mean, there's a lot of things, but I was up cutting firewood and they're doing all these road hazard sales that, they go a tree length from the road.
Yeah.
Well, then on the, I don't know if it's on, I didn't read the permit, but then they say you can't drive off the road to cut firewood. So how are you supposed to get firewood? If they cut all the firewood along the sides of the road, and you can't drive off the road. I mean, it's ridiculous.
Well, I can see why they don't want people driving off the road. I mean, in our pastures, we wouldn't want people driving off the road.
There's only, I consider myself kind of an expert on the soil around here. And, because I've had so many logging operations, but Sawmill Gulch is about the only place I would recommend not driving off the road. I mean, not in the spring, I mean, there's other places in the spring. The Sawmill, it's a volcanic ash that was in there, and it never sets up, and it's really wet. And
so the Forest Service has loggers in there, and they're clearing on either side of the road, and they're driving off the road with heavy equipment.
Exactly.
And it strikes me that if they're clearing, and like, I'm just going by what I saw a couple of days ago when we went to our cabin at Kaiser Lake, then they've cleared on each side of the road for these fire lines, which was a good idea, but it seems to me, since there's already been equipment willy-nilly off the road, that it wouldn't hurt for the Forest Service to say, you can drive out into these areas where we've had cats and skidders.
Right.
And you can knock some of the dead trees down into that area, and you could, so that would be something we could advise them on, I guess, if everybody agreed.
That's one thing. And they're closing more roads. There's more signs up, I was up Dry Gulch, and there's some really good firewood cutting roads, and they got not a road, new signs up,
So,
You couldn't hurt those roads. I mean, they're not roads, they're just skid trails, basically. You couldn't hurt them in a million years.
so we'll try to make sure, everybody will try to, I'll be sure to get my copy of this to you, and everybody can access it on the web, and then we'll just kick the can down the road 1 month to talk about the county growth policy.
I mean,
Does that
those
sound
are
right?
ideas. Yeah, and there's, I mean, this thing doesn't go past, there's a capital improvement plan, and it doesn't go past 2015. So that's what they're gonna spend a lot of money on, I mean, major expenses.
Yeah, well, I think what I'm gonna do, I'm going to just have a
Somebody
professional
left
printer
it
do
here
that
for us.
copy on it. That's what I'm gonna do.
Thanks,
Then I'll
I'm
be
watching
current.
my girlish figure.
I mean,
It's good.
I'm not.
Are you a transgender?
Not mine nor yours, right? That's a relief.
I might pass it down, see if anyone, uh-oh.
So if we're still talking about, if we're still talking about the growth policy, I also brought up last time the fire mitigation, which is also part of the growth policy information. I just want to put that there for the
I didn't
record.
catch all that.
The fire mitigation, that's also part of, kind of, the growth policy. I brought it up last time.
Is it included?
So that's something to look up.
Elena, is it included in our?
It's part of,
said
yeah,
fire
the fire
Fire
mitigation, since
It's
we're
in the
talking about
minutes.
forests. For the record.
Well, the fire plan needs to be updated too. It's ridiculous. Okay, that's another time. Anything else on road policy? Okay, Commissioners' resolution.
Heidi, there's a few extra, I'm just gonna let you take care of them.
Okay.
if you don't mind.
Nope. Put 'em in. Oh, I have my stuff out. So is celebration in order? Since you guys are an actual group
We're
now?
not legal?
Yep, we're legal, yay.
I forgot my glasses, so.
I might have 2 pairs. When you get to be my age, Chuck.
What power are they? Oh, they're pretty good.
Look at that.
That's smart.
I thought only a married couple did that. Shared glasses.
Well, Chuck and I were secretly married in a previous life. We don't talk about it much.
We'll have to figure out our staggered terms, you know, at some point.
Yeah.
Maybe next meeting we could just draw for that.
Well, I'd volunteer for a 1.
That means you get it 3.
Yeah. Well, that's good.
Question, when do we get a copy of this?
When do we get this?
When did we get it?
I happen to.
A copy of this?
You mean like just now?
Well, when did we get a copy of this?
Well, I had asked Mike Cahill to run off 8 of the bylaws. And then when I was down there, he told me Scott wasn't coming to the meeting. He asked if I would bring these up.
Okay, so just now.
Because I got something from Blaine that said, here's the copy of it today.
All right.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's what, we just all got it today.
We got it today.
Yes.
That's what I just wanted to confirm. So it was passed on August 21st. And again, for the record, Scott Adler said on the 12th that it wasn't passed, for the record.
Yeah, I have no idea.
Or maybe they got the date wrong and they passed it yesterday, and that's why we got it so recently.
Yeah, you wonder.
Well, it wasn't on the agenda yesterday.
Yeah, we don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Anything else on the resolution?
Looks like a good place to start.
That's all right. Committee budget. I didn't get to the commissioners, and I'm not going to the commissioners until November, so. There's discussion.
Well, the commissioners.
On the budget for this,
What's that?
on the budget regarding F MAC? Is that what, is this discussion committee budget? That's F MAC
Yeah,
that we're talking about. So you're not going to say anything until November?
not until November,
Okay.
That's because you're running?
exactly.
Okay, I get that.
Would you be seated in January?
Yeah, I think so.
Mm-hmm.
If, yeah, if.
So a
So
quick
any problem
aside,
with that? Anything else on the budget?
no, but on the same subject, if you do get elected, then does that mean you won't be able to be on this committee anymore, or would it make any difference?
I don't know.
We'd like to pile it.
Well, if Scott Adler's still around, then we'd have 2 commissioners on this committee, wouldn't he now?
But Chuck's a member, though. See, that's the difference. Scott isn't.
Scott, I don't.
But
believe
he's still
votes.
here.
Hmm?
Scott doesn't vote, does he?
Yeah, no. that's
So we'll
why I
figure
don't
that
know.
out.
Yeah,
we'll have to
I
ask
agree.
about that,
But
yeah.
it's
Let's
a
figure
good,
that
it's a
out.
No
good
sense in worrying
question.
about it now.
no.
Yeah, we don't know yet.
It's all premature.
Yeah.
But I still have a question, there's no connection between our meetings and the commissioners' meetings. It's nobody gets to them to tell them what's taking place.
Scott doesn't
And I
say
got a
anything?
problem with, no.
I thought there was something put on the website or
The
something.
agenda.
The agenda is, but not, what about the minutes?
No, they said they don't put them on
Oh,
for
they
any of
don't?
the board boards.
And honestly, we haven't really made any decisions. We haven't come up with anything that we actually voted, all of us, on to say, here is how we would advise the commissioners. So they kind of know that we've been meeting without being organized yet, and now we're organized, and then the time that we need to make sure that we communicate with them is if we come up with some advice for them.
Right.
Growth plan.
And then like, once a month, we could get on the agenda or have a representative, and just like the
Or once every
airport
3
board,
months,
or yeah, whatever,
whatever.
you know, just occasionally.
Yep, I agree with you.
Okay, anything else on that? Okay, Raleigh County bylaws, and Sue got the,
Yeah, and did you get those?
Corrections made.
Bill? And I would like y'all to, you know, take a look in case I missed something, okay?
Statement of good intentions. Looks like we're going on a date.
On the co-chairs, you know, make sure I worded that correctly.
where's that?
It's on page 3. Yeah. I mean, change the name of the forest, change the Valley County to Granite County.
Oh, I'm sorry, I don't have a copy. Do we have an extra one?
Let's see.
Thank you.
It's on page 3 in the middle. And then on page 4, the first part, you know, I took out everything about Montana Forest Collaboration Network,
Okay.
changed administrative assistant to secretary.
I'm sorry, what was that? On page 4?
Page 4.
Yeah.
Up at the top. Took out all the NFCN stuff. On the bottom of page 4, it's the quorum, we decided a majority of members,
Well, that's good to me.
so I changed that. And that was the only wording.
Where did we have the offices? We have co-chairs on here. So where, the secretary, facilitator, all the other stuff?
On the secretary, we haven't really decided on that yet.
Okay, so that's not on here.
Right. I mean, I just changed it to chair and vice chair. I mean, this is a living document when we get the secretary.
I'm sorry, it's
configured.
what?
Well, it's a living document.
living
We
document.
can
you.
change the secretary stuff as needed.
And the other thing, I see there's collaboration, and I agree, we're a collaboration committee, but I don't see anything here with the intent for coordination.
Where do you want that to go?
I don't know, I'm saying I don't see it. I thought we decided last time there had to be something about coordination.
That was gonna be with the growth policy, the coordination part, I'm pretty sure. I mean, I didn't mark it here.
Okay, I just was wondering, because I would think that should be
came up
here.
last time, and it was decided to do that with the growth policy.
This would be the bylaws, and I thought, we are a collaboration committee with the intent to work with the commissioners as a coordination, or to get them
Yeah, we
coordination.
probably should. I
Yeah,
would
probably
think.
should add a sentence on there.
Okay,
employs a collaborative forum for reviewing and evaluating natural resource actions and policies that affect local communities. And will facilitate in the coordination of those actions.
What page are we on?
the mission statement.
Red stop.
Page what?
Mission statement.
Thank you, okay. Yeah, I think we should add something in there.
Okay, so, did you want to continue that sentence or start a new sentence?
I don't care.
Or maybe put it under goals.
Okay, so under goals, have a last goal,
Sure, we could do that.
and you said just facilitate?
Facilitate the county commissioners in
Coordination.
coordinating with other agencies.
Right, I think that's good to go in there. Facilitate the county commissioners' coordination with other agencies.
Right.
That's what I always thought we were here for.
Facilitate the county commissioners' coordination
Right.
with other agencies.
Okay,
Good.
all in agreement on that?
Agree.
Any other discussion on the bylaw?
Oh, thank you. I'll stick this in, and then,
Yeah, thanks for doing that.
it was easy to do. What I can do is run page 2, rather than rerun the whole thing.
Mhm.
Right next time, I'll just run page 2. Or maybe just send it to you, or I run some version. Get it figured out.
So we'll put that off, we'll put that on the next agenda, and we'll,
I'll update this to us.
Right, we'll have this thing just about ready to rock and roll next time, okay?
approve it next time.
Little by little.
Yeah,
I said, you guys are getting there, little by little.
I think this, I think we're accomplishing quite a bit, actually. Laying the groundwork.
Okay, discuss NEPA air quality.
It's improved.
Yeah,
Is that addressed at all under the growth policy?
What's that?
Is the air quality addressed at all in this growth policy?
I don't think it was,
Not specifically.
I don't remember. Like I said, it's real generic.
Yeah. Maybe it's something we can discuss
That'd
about
be-
amending next.
Exactly, we could put
at
that
some
on,
point.
we could think about that, and be one of the things that's going on there.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Well, what's the question on that? We used to do those Ipanepas for the snow club, snowmobile riders, but legislature exempted us from it because we're obviously riding on snow and not on the ground. That's about all I know about it, is I used to do those forms years ago, and they're quite complicated. So what are we discussing?
Well, we're just discussing that under state law with MEPA, I mean, we have a right to clean air. And that's why I add on, we have a right to a clean and safe environment. And we don't get that all summer long when they decided to let the fires burn and when they're lighting their fires. And
Like I said, I filled
yeah,
out
we
those forms.
bring this up in other
Like,
meetings, but, probably. But, we need to have, if the Forest Service wants to burn a drainage, then they can do a NEPA document on it, which would be an EIS, and have our input. So we can put our input into how it's gonna affect us. And,
So anytime they do a burn, you want a NEPA document.
They have to do a NEPA document
Okay.
now for prescribed burn.
Okay,
So by letting a lightning strike and letting it burn, you know, for 2 or 3 weeks until the weather dries out, and then it takes off and burns the whole drainage, burns
Right.
100,000 acres. Well, that would take an EIS, probably a major EIS, if they were gonna do a prescribed burn to do that. Okay, my point is, they should be doing, if they, so let's just take a drainage.
yeah.
This is what black line.
Okay,
If they wanted to let black line burn, they'd have to, and whatever else they want to do, they'd have to do a NEPA document and go through the whole process, like they would do for a timber sale or 1,000,000 feet. And, which would do basically no damage. And then, we would have our input on it. You see, right now, the
Right.
way we have it, everybody's helpless. You know, a fire starts,
right.
Yeah.
So you're trying to get away from letting fires burn by approaching it through air quality?
partly,
Yeah, right,
not just air quality,
right,
but, you know, it's a damage to the resources too.
right. I'm not saying I agree with you, I'm just understanding what you're saying,
Yeah.
yeah.
You see, I'm gonna get into this more another time,
I know. I know where you're coming from,
yeah.
yeah.
But, anything else?
I think vehicles should be inspected. When I see these trucks spewing all that black smoke,
Oh,
I mean, I think that's horrible that Montana doesn't require vehicle inspections. Don't you?
I'm glad we don't. Just saying, just between us girls.
No,
I'm just saying, if you're against air pollution, you're against air pollution
Well,
across
yeah,
the board.
yeah.
Or whether it's coal strip,
I think they should,
or,
you know,
or a forest fire, or, whatever.
well, coal strip, no, not getting off of it.
The
You know,
coal
I
strip
mean,
is
it-
worse because it's arsenic and
Yeah, but
mercury.
they're scrubbing that stuff, and.
No, they're not. They were shut down because they were, for a while this summer, because they weren't meeting air pollution standards. I'm just saying, I just want to know where you're coming from, if it's just for the forest fires or if it's air pollution in general.
Well, when Colstrip hasn't ruined my summer, Colstrip hasn't said that, me personally, that I have to go out, when I have to go outside, they're not saying, you go outside, we don't care. They're not telling me, well, I guess they are, maybe to somebody, but the experts last year, when the fires were burning, they had a meeting in Missoula at the university, and one of those experts says, and I use that term very loosely, he says, we're gonna burn these forests, and if you don't like it, move. So, I mean, when a federal government is sitting there telling its citizens, the purpose of a government, what's the purpose of government? Protect the citizens.
Right, from all kinds of pollution, that's what I'm saying, whether it's
From all kinds of-
mercury or arsenic or carbon in the air.
Exactly. I
Yeah,
mean,
exactly.
if they could prove to me that arsenic was coming out of Colstrip, you know, and I think they have the technology to burn coal clean, that's what I've heard anyway.
Well, I mean,
Well, arsenic's
That's
a
not
naturally
true.
occurring thing in the environment. Arsenic,
The biggest arsenic polluter in the state of Montana is the Madison River, where it comes out of Yellowstone Park.
Yeah, you said that before, yeah.
So
So
there's
anyway,
where the arsenic comes from.
I was just
But, no, I
wondering.
totally agree, I like clean
Right,
air.
right, I mean, it's
Naturally
just
occurring.
clean air, whether it's a coal strip or at Fullsburg, Montana.
And-
We all want clean air.
If somebody proved to me that Colstrip was really polluting all this stuff, and they weren't scrubbing it and taking it, yeah, I'd say, yeah.
But they did get shut down because it wasn't being
No, I think
scrubbed
they got,
properly.
my own personal opinion is they got shut down because of political.
But
Well-
I wonder what the difference would be if you didn't have the electricity from Colstrip.
Exactly.
And people were just, everybody had their own wood-burning stove. And, you know, like in Missoula, for some reason, they banned wood-burning stoves. And I'm, you know, I don't remember exactly why that was.
I think
Air
it's
pollution.
the way Missoula sets in that valley, the smoke just lays in there. I think that's why.
That
But
could
what
be.
is water
They're the
pollution from the
dirtiest things
splits?
you can burn.
But I'm just
It
wondering,
really
say,
is.
for a given amount of heat into a house, if there's more pollution from having people use their all-American wood stoves, or if there's more pollution from centralizing everything at Colstrip and sending the electricity out over the wires, you know? And I do not know the answer to that, but that would be interesting to know.
I don't know either. I've heard that burning wood is carbon neutral because, because it's a living resource and it, grows and cleans the air but I mean, that's.
In the context of geologic time, burning coal is carbon neutral too.
Well, I like geological time. I think we should look long range, but this is my fault. We're off the subject. I apologize.
Well, maybe we can't tackle every air pollution, but if we can tackle one, that helps.
That affects
And then-
our
Here-
Granite
Yeah.
County, right?
I'll run this by you. What if Hanford said in the summertime, this is say,
Okay.
that they had to do maintenance or something, and they had to release low-level radiation that wouldn't hurt you that much, but maybe over a long exposure. Say, so that they do it, they'd release this for 3 months every summer. Would people be up in arms?
Yes,
Well, smoke is pretty much the same thing,
right,
and over long, they've proven
Right.
it's really hazardous over long exposure, and some people not that long.
Well, how about tobacco? I know it's self-inflicted, but we should all be voting for 185 then, Initiative 185, right, Chuck?
I think the courts will throw it out.
Yeah.
And I don't
But
smoke.
I mean, that
I don't
is the
smoke.
most personal, damaging kind of pollution there is, and we should encourage people to.
But,
be in.
I thought a long time ago, 2 wrongs don't make a right, and, so, I mean, you gotta fight one fight at a time.
Right, I know.
Excuse me, so we're talking air quality, we got off subject, I think.
I do apologize.
And,
Right, for the purposes of our committee, I think we would be well advised to concentrate on things that affect us immediately in Granite County. And everybody has their own opinion on Colstrip, but maybe that's for somebody else to worry about. I mean, we can all worry about it or not individually, but I think we should concentrate on air pollution in Granite County.
I agree, to go back to what I was saying, renewable energy, hydroelectricity, if you want to talk about Granite County. We have the Flint Creek hydroelectric plant, which doesn't give any electricity to Granite County. So I'm just putting that in. You want to talk about clean energy,
It goes into the grid, though.
It's in the
Yeah,
grid.
it goes.
but we
in there.
don't get any of it, okay?
But it's the way the grid's set up, and
Yeah.
Granite County makes money off of it, and pretty soon we're gonna own it, and it'll be great.
Phillipsburg also has connected to their hydroelectric dam, and they do get electricity from it.
I got a caveat for that.
Okay.
So I'm just saying that, okay?
Well, and the town, of course, generates power as well.
That's right.
What happens if the Saley Scrutiny water compact goes through and they take control of it?
Well, Chuck, if the compact doesn't go through and it goes to court, and we go back to 1855, nobody's gonna have any water.
That's not the way I've heard it.
Anybody
Well,
else?
that's the way I've heard it.
That's
Oh, yeah,
not-
you're trying to distract us with something sweet. Nice try.
Candy little girl?
There's some candy
Oh,
right there.
gosh, but thank you, it's very sweet.
Okay, we can have another discussion about this another time, I think. So,
Okay, new business. If we're done with air quality.
new business, like what? Anything?
Whatever you want.
Okay, regarding the meeting room here, I don't know if Carol said anything to you?
She did, she told us.
Okay, yeah, because
We weren't aware.
we're supposed to be meeting in the commissioner's office. You notice that?
Is that where we first were?
No.
That we were, I don't know what they call it down by Mike, but
She just said to call in and make sure we get this room.
So, yeah, maybe we should decide.
Well, then it should be
where do we
changed,
wanna
because
get.
on our, Forest Management Advisory Committee, if you look at this is what we, somewhere along the line, they did. Commissioner's Office, Granite County Granite County Courthouse.
No, what says that? Where is that?
It's on your agenda, that we meet up there, and all of a sudden, we were meeting downstairs, and now we're meeting upstairs. And now it's like when you come in, you have no idea, is it downstairs, the commissioner's office, or is it up here? So it should be, I think, clarified. Are we going to be meeting up here, or are we going to be meeting at the commissioner's office or downstairs? That's all I'm
If we're gonna
saying.
meet up here, we'll call in unless we can't meet up here.
So then that should be changed.
But
That we don't.
this is the courthouse, right?
This whole building is the courthouse, but this is not the commissioner's office. This is the courtroom.
Yeah. Isn't it
Okay.
locked up?
So I think we should clarify that.
Sure.
And then as far as the next meeting, I think we should have the whole meeting on the agenda to discuss the growth policy revisions.
Do you have that as an item?
That should be the whole thing, I think.
The whole
Besides approving the minutes, I think we should,
And we need to
No,
approve the
we gotta do the
bylaws.
bylaws.
well, we discuss the bylaws, so then we can just put it on there to agree or not to agree. But I think we should get the Granite County growth policy. Do you think that's going to be a 15-minute discussion?
No.
No,
and
it
if we-
won't.
If we don't finish discussing the growth policy next meeting, then I think we should discuss it at the meeting following that. And if we don't, at that meeting, we should discuss it again. I think it's one of the more important things. I mean, not to the exclusion of these other things, but I think we should spend a decent amount of time on the growth policy. I agree with you.
No. Maybe we can have it the next day.
But we probably won't get it done.
No, we're not
Right.
gonna get her done
we
next time.
could, maybe Chuck, you could assign, actually, could you assign like 15, 20 pages or whatever?
Well, there's sections.
Yeah, why don't you're tell us what we need to, and then we'll all,
You're saying attack it in
do you think-
segments.
Right,
How many pages is it?
No, I don't.
you wanna do the whole thing?
I've read the whole thing. I mean, it's not that big a deal to read it.
It's just like, I'm speaking for myself, we can get really scattered and hop all over. It just seems like if we went from start to finish, it would be a logical way to approach it.
Most of it's just statistics about it.
Right.
Okay, so.
That is-
Well, next meeting, we just attack the first two sections. And then we
But we could just start going through it page by page. Is everybody cool with that? Should there be any changes? And then when we get tired of it, move on to new business.
Right,
And then pick it up again the next meeting.
No, I'd rather have people read it and then write down what they want to change.
Absolutely.
And page number and whatever.
but,
and
but
section,
don't you think we should go through start to finish?
yes.
Okay.
I think we should read it start to finish.
Right.
And like I say, it's not that, doesn't take that long. And actually, it's kind of interesting.
It looks interesting, but,
It just doesn't go into detail.
well, when we discuss it, though, I think we should do it in order.
Exactly, we can do that. But I think
Right.
we read it, everybody has their suggestions. Then we could start, we could start at the beginning, go
Right.
page by page. Anybody have anything here?
Right.
Any there,
Sure.
there. And
And go for a while until you say, all right, that's enough.
exactly.
Right,
All
after
right.
about an hour that you have.
Good. That'll work great.
Something, next meeting, I'd like to draw for staggered terms, because we need to approach that. You know, the committee members are supposed to have staggered terms, or we'll have to figure out a way to do that. Because we're coming up on being
Okay.
in existence for a year, so we,
So you think that at the next meeting, we should draw for staggered terms?
right.
I'd be,
I mean, it
I'd
may,
be in favor of that.
it might not even, maybe it should not be in effect, I don't know, whenever you guys think it should be in effect. August 21,
Now that we're official,
right,
we could draw for staggered terms.
right.
All right. Can we put that down for an agenda item next time?
Won't take her long,
No,
No?
shouldn't. Everybody put Bill's name down on a piece of paper.
You know, Elena, new business or monkey business. You mentioned renewable energy. There's an extremely interesting article, and I believe it's in the newest issue of The Economist. And it's about the contribution of windmills to warming temperatures. And I had never suspected this, but it turns out that wind power warms the environment, and it warms it significantly. And if we were to, we only get about 6% of our power in the US right now from wind. But if we were to get up to a reasonable amount of wind energy, it would rival CO2 as a source of global warming. And I just, that came out of left field for me. I just thought, whoa, never even thought about that.
huh? Mixes the air.
Yes, it does. So that's an
Is that the
interesting thing.
mechanism?
And, yeah, that is what happens. And it has nothing to do with our mission here, but since you mentioned renewable, I think the idea in this article was every form of energy involves a trade-off. There's no such thing as completely clean energy.
Right?
So, you know.
That is true. That's
Yeah,
very true.
yeah, it's
You know,
true.
solar, look at, I mean, it's wonderful, but look at all the space it takes up. And
Well, and then there's a tremendous amount of pollution involved in making those things, and lucky for us,
You have to mine
it all happens in, well, you have to mine,
Right.
but lucky for us, the pollution happens in China.
That's right. That's
So I would
right.
never get over here.
Now we got a wall that's gonna leave the pollution
We've
out
got a
here,
wall
right?
that's gonna hold the pollution out. I told you what I read from Jeff Foxworthy, didn't I? At the end of a long humorous thing about Muslims, believe it or not. At the end, he said, 2,000 years ago, the Chinese built a wall, and they still don't have any Mexicans.
That's a good one.
I just thought, there you go. That's true.
In a
It may
racist,
not be cause and effect, but it is true. All right.
it's a racist, rather, a racist thing to say, but
And look at
Well,
all the,
I'm quoting Jeff Foxworthy.
I know.
Bill, and look at all the species that are being killed, birds, because of those windmills.
They're trying to design them to kill fewer birds. Be thankful I'm not quoting Richard Pryor.
But then airplanes can kill birds too, you
Okay,
know?
any more new business?
Well, you never, guys didn't make a decision on what Elena brought up about the meeting room. Should we make a decision? Are we going to meet here? Then one of us needs
Yeah,
to call
my
in.
decision was, we're gonna call up and
Okay.
see if this is open.
Okay, so do you
I kinda
wanna-
like it up
This is our go-to place.
You want me
And
to
if-
be that person to call ahead and make sure we can get this place?
I love a volunteer.
there. I think,
I mean,
Yeah, I think it's great. Heidi, you could go over right after the meeting and
Put it
reserve
on the-
it,
yeah.
right, as long as you're here, and then it's done.
and then Carol, yes,
Yes.
Carol, okay.
And then it should be on the agenda, or we have to
Well,
know
what's this called,
where
the
it's gonna
jury
be.
room? Is this what this?
Courtroom, I think.
Courtroom.
I mean, I do have to say, if we're the only group that's up here, I hate in the winter to heat it up just for us, but whatever.
Yeah, but tomorrow, one other group might,
Right,
you know,
yeah.
so they probably just keep it heated.
They probably
anyway.
do.
If we get enough windmills, maybe it won't get that cold.
yeah, we'll mix it up.
How about if we lobby
We
for
put a
a wood
windmill
burning
up
stove?
Yeah.
There you go.
Campaign on that.
I
Windmill.
agree. I motion to agree. Let's put a wood-burning stove up here.
Yeah. Chuck him, yeah, right on that. I'm gonna change the courthouse. I'm gonna-
And then we can bring in marshmallows and stuff.
Oh, that would be good.
Isn't that cool?
Don't go off the road to get your wood.
Right, and be careful where you drive to get that.
Exactly. Okay,
Okay, so I'll do that.
public comment.
I wondered about this public comment. I mean, how is the public to know about?
Oh, are these, are these agendas posted anywhere?
Well,
Just-
I found out that Mike Kehoe was,
Uh-huh.
but he was out for a long time. So
Right,
I know
right.
the latest one, the latest two, I think, haven't been on there. But are we assuming that that's how the public knows about this, or is it maybe from the articles in the paper?
Well, we don't publish the agendas for
But you do put that we meet at 2 PM or something?
I have in the past, but not as a matter of course, so.
Maybe
Could we request that, that there just be a little public notice thing in the paper that the F MAC, you might want to explain what that is, will be meeting?
Second Wednesday of the month?
I just like the airport board, they stick them on bulletin boards in the post office and planning boards. Do you think we should be posting
It'd
them in a
probably
couple
be less
spots?
expensive that way.
Yeah,
The agenda, you mean?
right.
Oh, okay.
Less expensive to post it in the post
In
office.
fact, it would have, you can ask Mike about it, but it would have Granite County, you know, headline and everything, the official. I'll find out where he posts those things.
Would you post it?
Yeah.
I'll post it at the Drummond Post Office if I know well in advance.
What if we put it in the newspaper
So let's try to get it done.
and then give the bill to the Granite County Commissioners?
Well,
Is
I
there
don't-
an expense involved in having a public announcement in the paper?
Unless, well, the short answer is probably yes.
Okay,
It's only once a month, and since we don't have a budget, we can submit it to the county commissioners to pay it.
I don't think that's really fair.
Well, then,
Do
it
it.
doesn't go anywhere. Let me tell you, I've been involved with the public notice of this stuff for the county commissioners. They finally put it in the paper, but it's only, well, they change it. You know, go into the website and see what the meeting is. Well, not everybody here in Granite County goes on the internet. And not everybody goes to the Phillipsburg post office, because people in the county get rural mail delivered. So
Right.
why should they go there? And the other place where it's posted would be here, and this is closed on the weekends. And it's not posted anyplace else.
Well, people need to be responsible and figure it out. I don't think we should do something and bill the county. I don't think that that's
I
right.
think we could get notice out without expense.
Right, like
Just
the
with a
post
little bit of trouble for
offices,
us.
Just do the post offices and the website, and people will just have to deal with it.
So are we saying, let's say we put, what are we putting up at the actual post office? What
Just,
are-
it would be an agenda like this,
Okay.
only it'd probably have the Granite County, what do you call it, the headline?
Do we ask for public comment?
Oh, well, because we're a public agency, we have to have that. Lots of agencies put public comment first, so if someone comes, they can get it out of the way, they don't have to sit through the entire meeting.
But you have to get permission for where you're going to put it up.
So we should try to get our agenda done by the first of the month. So we'd have a few days to post it.
Yeah, at least a week in advance would be nice.
So let's say that I went there and saw it at the post office and I wanted to make public comment. How would I go about doing that? Come to the meeting?
Yeah, that's all you have to
Okay.
do is show up. yeah.
So how much would it cost to put an ad in the paper that says the agenda for F MAC will be posted?
I don't know, you'd have to call.
It would be about $80 for just
Yeah,
a little
it's
ad.
quite-
$80 for a little ad.
It's pricey.
I'll spring for one ad one time, where we tell everybody that it's gonna be posted from now on. It's gonna be posted
Good idea.
wherever it is. And so if you just get together with him, get the ad in there, send me a bill.
Or they can tell them to
Send me a
bill.
bill. I mean,
That's
as long
bill.
as it's not like $300 or something.
Yeah, I think that's really nice.
Well, I
Thank
put-
you, Bill.
Yeah.
I
well,
put a little
so-
ad in, it was $50, and it was like a 2x3 or something, or a 2x2.
Sure.
So,
What, whatever it is, then we can move beyond this subject right now.
Right,
Thanks.
right,
Okay.
yeah, fair enough.
And I guess when we discuss the growth policy, I'll pay for that one.
I mean,
Because I think that's important, and I also understand that Phillipsburg Town of wanted to revise the growth policy at one time. So maybe there's a lot of people that are interested in it, and so I think that should be important, that if we're going to discuss it, let everybody know that we're going to discuss the growth policy, because it affects everybody, not just us.
So you want to do that for next meeting?
Well, I'm just saying, when we're set that we're going to have a discussion on it, a real intent discussion, I'll pay for the ad to put in the paper that we are going to have discussion regarding the growth
Well,
policy.
fine, I'll split it with you then.
yeah, that's what I was gonna
It'll
say,
be
make one
It'll be a
ad.
multi-purpose ad. Number
That
one,
might be, if I can be allowed to make a comment, being a member of the public, that might be a bit redundant, seeing as though the planning board has to by law hold a public hearing on any amendments to the.
Well, that's a hearing, but this is a discussion, so,
That's what I wondered, even though we're discussing, do we have any authority to make amendments to it? So it's
no,
just,
we're just an advisory board.
do we have any authority
We
to
have
do
to go-
anything?
We have to go through the planning board, then they have to go to the commissioners.
Right.
but we can have a joint session with anybody else.
Meeting with them at some point.
Right, yeah, a joint
Planning
meeting.
board in the committee and kind of iron out.
Okay, let's plan our next meeting as the main one for us. And then we'll figure out that stuff, then we'll try to go to the planning board.
So planning board maybe in 2 months.
Yeah.
Right, okay.
Okay,
So are you gonna do the ad then with both items in there?
I
Yeah, I was
think,
just gonna say, if we have an ad, it should say, the agenda will be posted
No, we could have
at
that on.
That's good
XYZ, and then,
later on, we'll discuss the other thing,
Right, so it comes out like a week or so before. our meeting.
fine and dandy.
okay?
Yeah, all right, send me a bill.
Got it.
Okay, next meeting is November 14th. Anything else? We got our agenda done?
Just a little informative, I'll just grind this axe a little tiny bit, and I won't again at this meeting. In the Montana Standard this morning, there is a very well-written and factual and informative editorial urging voters to vote against I-186, which is the mining initiative.
Yeah.
And it's
Who wrote it?
it's a, yeah, Lee newspapers or whatever, and it's well-researched and thoughtful, and that's all I have to say about that.
You get the standard?
I get the Standard.
On the 14th, there's supposed to be,
Oh, and that wouldn't be today's Standard, because we get it a couple of days late, right?
As long as you
Because,
save it, I don't care.
could you say, the 14th, it's a Sunday, they're supposed to have all the candidates in the paper? Is there any
Yeah.
way you could save it for us?
It's
I could write you a
online,
big note
it's online. You can get
Sure.
the standard online.
without having to subscribe?
Yeah, you don't have to pay for it.
Yeah, you can get it. But, and Huffman's, are they late with the standard?
They don't have them anymore.
Oh, that's
There's
too bad.
nobody in town.
it all comes by mail.
Okay,
If I called you
just like
ahead?
the Missoulian.
Yeah, call me ahead.
Okay,
Have your people call my people.
I'll just write myself a big note.
She is the people.
And I just want, as far as the draft of the agenda,
For your,
not for anything, Mary Lee, but can we get it like a week before the draft?
but she had set it up like 2 weeks before.
Yeah, we'll try to get done by the first of the month.
Because it came out on the 6th that I got the
This
agenda.
could be more informative. Who are the candidates?
For a commissioner?
No, this says, oh, commissioners, House 77 district candidates. Sorry.
That's Mark Sweeney, Dick Motta, and Heather Bloom. Heather Bloom's the
Okay.
Republican candidate from Drummond. And then
Very
you
good.
know the three commissioner candidates, Bart, Chuck, and Wayne Hale.
I don't know, Wayne. Okay. Very
He's
good.
new.
Is Sweeney Democrat then?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wasn't,
And Dick Motta is the
yeah,
Libertarian.
right, we know that one, okay.
Okay, motion to adjourn?
I move we adjourn.
Second, third, fourth, fifth, whatever.
All agree? Aye.
Yeah, there we go.
All right.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah, thank you, Margie.
Elena, so, I guess I got confused. What was decided on that ad we're not gonna put in about the growth policy, or?
We'll see you guys
No,
later.
just Bill's ad about when we meet,
Okay,
and then later, when we have something more substantial.
okay, okay.
But we're gonna kind of tackle the growth policy next meeting, right? To
Yeah,
some
part of
extent.
it, yeah.
Part of it, okay. Excellent. All right, some light reading for the evening.